What's up, guys? Welcome back to FishOfHex. In today's video, we're going to be working on the 30-gallon Triton method chaeto reactor build. Now, in this video, I'm going to be adding a mini skimmer to the back right section of this all-in-one tank. Now, I will go into the detail. We'll be unboxing this skimmer. I'll show you everything about it, how I adjusted the air line coming in to make the skimmer quiet, as well as being able to do an add-on. So if you want to pull in fresh air from outside, I'll show you guys that modification here in this video. So without any further ado, let's go and get into it. When it came to the skimmer, I decided to go with an AquaticLife internal marine mini skimmer. Now, this is rated for 30 gallons, and for those of you who've been here for a while, you know that I'm going against my own rule. That is that I like to have a skimmer that is rated for double the water volume that the system actually has. And I did decide to go this route just in the spirit of trying new things, as well as the price for the skimmer is about $47 on eBay. And on top of that, the ratings all across the board on every site that it's sold and on the forums, that's all good things. Now, there is the modification that we'll get into here in a second that must happen if you want to enjoy this skimmer. But without a doubt, it is well worth the price, and I'm very surprised on how much it actually pulls out in just a short period of time. As you guys can see, the skimmer comes pre-assembled and ready to go. So at this point, you could really just throw it into the sump or the back of your all-in-one, add the skimmer cup, and you'd be good to go. Now, what I recommend you do is go ahead and use the provided clips that actually go on the back of the skimmer and actually hang over the rim of your all-in-one or your sump. Now, I recommend you use these because the suction cups, yes, it does hold the skimmer in place, but not for long. I did try it out for a couple days just to see how it hold up, and the skimmer actually slid down about a half an inch into the water and then caused the cup to overflow, and it just wasn't worth it. So go ahead and use these clips here to hold it, and you can adjust the height with these clips and also adjust how much it leans forward or backward within the sump. So go ahead and use those and you'll be good to go. Alright, so let's go and talk about this airline modification before we get it into the sump. Now, the biggest complaint that I saw on the forums and the reviews, it was how loud this skimmer was based on it pulling air in. So if anybody's had a skimmer and you hear that suction all the time, it's very loud on this skimmer. So the best thing you can do is go ahead and do this modification, and it's very simple. It only took a couple minutes. What you want to do is go ahead and drill a hole through the top of the skimmer where the original airline was, and then run a airline tube, whatever you have going around. I actually used one of my old tubes for my ATK module through the apex, and I just connected it to the input of that pump. Now, make sure you do not glue it, because later on you're going to want to remove that airline to clean out that inlet, because it will get clogged over time. So go ahead and add that airline, put it wherever you want. I actually ran mine to the main airline coming into my fish room here, which connects to my Quantum 300 as well as my Curve 7. So all three of my skimmers in the fish room are connected to an airline that goes outside that pulls in all of that fresh air. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about installation, water level, and break-in period. Now, when it comes to installing any skimmer, you want to make sure it's in a section of the sump or an all-in-one that has consistent water level. Now, for me, on the right-hand side of this Nuvo 30, it's always consistent because of the baffles before the return section, so I don't have to worry about it going up and down, messing up my skimmate, or overflowing my cup. Now, the next thing you will notice on this skimmer is on the right-hand side, there is that adjustment knob. Now, don't worry about that knob right now. Just keep it all the way open. What you want to focus on is the grate that's underneath it. Now, with all the water that's being pulled into the skimmer, it has to exit the skimmer body somehow. Now, at that point, underneath that knob is where all that water will come out. Now, after trial and error, I found that having the water level for the skimmer to be about midway up that grade not only allows me to have good skimmate, but it also allows me to cut on the sound of the water exiting the skimmer. Now, once you have the proper water level and the brackets are adjusted on the back, just go ahead and leave that knob open for the next week or two, letting the skimmer break in. Do expect it to overflow a couple times if you're messing with the knob, and just simply empty out the cup and put it back on. Now, once the skimmer starts pulling out consistent skimmate, you can go ahead and adjust the knob, bringing the bubbles up and down within the skimmer body, allowing you to have a wet or dry skimmate. Now, I personally like to keep it in the middle with this type of skimmer just because the cup is pretty small, and you'll find that you'll be changing it several times during the week. At this point, I change it twice a week, and I imagine you could go ahead and drill a hole underneath that to have it go to a separate container to drain. But with every skimmer, if the neck gets too dirty, it's not going to pull out skimmate anyway, so just go ahead and clean it as needed. So with all that being said, for $50, I really couldn't have asked for a better skimmer. I mean, it works perfectly. It did take, again, a couple weeks to break in, but that's just normal for any skimmer. The consistency is always the same, for the exception of when that inlet hose actually gets clogged. you will notice that it's not pulling out skim air or making the right amount of bubbles. So just go ahead and take the skimmer apart, clean it. It only takes a couple minutes, put it back together. And I do recommend this skimmer for anybody with a 30 gallon or under, or even if you have a little bit of a bigger tank like a 45 or something that's lightly stocked or you're not feeding it very often. I definitely recommend this skimmer. Now, of course, there are more expensive options that we could have tried, I could have went with, but the point of this build is to try some new things, see how it works out, and kind of what the long-term success would be with this test build. Now, if we want to have the biggest and best things, that's what we're doing on the 300. So if you haven't been following the 300, I definitely check out that playlist. The link will be in the description below. That's kind of where I go a little above and beyond, a little overkill on my build, and it's kind of the opposite of what I've been for the last several years. And yeah, it's kind of fun. Either way, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about the skimmer, let me know. Put it in the comment section below, and I will see you next time. Peace.